So even though there's a whole lot of other truly wireless earbuds on the market right now, some that are really good at doing one specific thing, AirPods are still a no-brainer for any iPhone user. And today, we've got the new AirPods 3. And just as you'd expect, these are a marginal upgrade over the AirPods 2, and they're still a no-brainer for any iPhone user. But today we're going to see how the AirPods 3 compares to the AirPods Gen 2, which are Apple's current entry-level earbuds. We're also going to compare them to the AirPods Pro and see if it's worth upgrading for you. And I'm also going to be throwing in the Beats Studio Buds, because I know some people are going to be tempted to go with those over these. Now, regarding pricing, the AirPods Gen 2 retail for $130, and these are Apple's entry-level earbuds. The AirPods Gen 3 retail for $180, and the AirPods Pro retail for $250. But then there are the Studio Buds, which are really a pair of earbuds meant for Android users because they charge via a USB-C port. However, when it comes to pricing, they have a retail price of $150, which undercuts the AirPods 3, and they like to go on sale for $130, the same price as the AirPods Gen 2. And you're getting a lot of features. So I definitely understand why some iPhone users would be eyeing the Studio Buds. Nonetheless, if you want to pick any of these earbuds up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch shelf down below. I've made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know I can be very particular. So I'll only set my name on something that I'm really proud of. Now, first let's talk about these cases. One of the reasons why AirPods have always been so popular is just because they have the smallest cases out there. All of Apple's AirPods cases are significantly smaller than their competitors, just making AirPods very convenient to carry around in your pocket. Now, just as you'd expect, the AirPods 3 have a very small case, and this case is very similar to the AirPods Pro's case, except it does have a smaller footprint. However, I do gotta point out that the AirPods 3 case has an ever so slightly larger footprint than the AirPods 2's case. But personally, I really don't think that you're going to notice a difference unless you're holding these cases at the same time. But then there are the Studio Buds case, and this case is pretty chunky when compared to all of these other AirPod cases. It's decently thin, but it does have a relatively large footprint. So case size is definitely a noticeable sacrifice that you're gonna have to make if you decide to go with the Studio Buds. But then there's their battery life, and this is a notable upgrade for the AirPods 3. The AirPods 3 now have an advertised combined battery life of 30 hours. The earbuds themselves can go for 6 straight hours, and the case can supply 4 additional charges. Whereas with the AirPods Gen 2, AirPods Pro, and Studio Buds, they all have a combined battery life of 24 hours. For the AirPods, their earbuds can go for 5 hours straight, and the case can supply 4 additional charges. Whereas with the Studio Buds, their earbuds can go for 8 hours straight, and their case can only supply 2 additional charges. But just keep in mind, the combined battery life of 24 hours for both the AirPods Pro and Studio Buds is with their active noise cancellation turned off. But the main thing to keep in mind is that as you use these earbuds, their battery life will degrade over time. Now personally, I've found that both the AirPods 2 and AirPods Pro are good for a solid year and a half. But then after that, you're going to notice that your battery life just isn't what it used to be. So the hope here is that the newer batteries in the AirPods 3 will give them a longer, more viable lifespan. However, when it comes to charging these earbuds, all of these AirPods charge via a lightning port so that you can charge your iPhone and AirPods with the same cable. Whereas the Studio Buds charge via a USB-C port, and that's the main reason why I say these earbuds are really meant for Android users. But when it comes to wireless charging, only the AirPods Pro and AirPods 3 have wireless charging. Now you can use any Qi wireless charger, or you can use your MagSafe charger. But the neat thing about the AirPods 3 is that they will magnetically align themselves and attach themselves to your MagSafe charger, which is pretty neat. Whereas with the AirPods Pro, they don't. You're gonna have to fish around with the MagSafe charger to make sure that it actually starts charging. But out of curiosity, I did want to see how the AirPods 3 would attach to my iPhone, which also has MagSafe. And it doesn't look like they're actually meant to go together, which unfortunately to me, it does tell me that we're not going to see power sharing on iPhones anytime soon. Because if we were, I think this case would properly center itself on an iPhone. But now let's talk about the earbuds themselves. Design-wise, the AirPods 3 are basically just the AirPods Pro without the ear tips. And personally, I really prefer the look of the AirPods 3 over the AirPods 2 because of the shorter stems. And here's a hot take for you. I actually really like the stems on AirPods. It makes handling your earbuds super easy. Whereas with, let's say, the Studio Buds, even though they look sleek, I've noticed that it's very hard to grab a hold of these earbuds. And the same thing applies to other round glossy earbuds, like let's say the Galaxy Buds 2. So yes, I am pro stem. Now, when it comes to fit, the AirPods 3 fit just like the AirPods 2, as in, they don't actually go into your ear canal. They just rest in the bowl of your ears. And this is a double-edged sword. The good thing about these earbuds is that they're super comfortable to wear and you really do forget that you're wearing them. They don't get itchy or slimy after a while, like in your earbuds. The bad thing though is that they let in a lot of ambient noise, which sometimes makes it very hard to actually hear your content, or you're just not going to hear it as well. But then there are the AirPods Pro and Studio Buds, which are in your earbuds, and even with their active noise cancellation turned off, they're going to passively block out a good amount of noise. Now, even though both the AirPods Pro and Studio Buds are in your earbuds, they don't fit like your standard pair of in-ear earbuds. Both the AirPods Pro and Studio Buds are shallow fitting in your earbuds. They don't go in super deep into your ear canals, like let's say the Galaxy Buds 2, Sennheiser CX Plus, or Jabra Elite 3s. So, both the AirPods Pro and Studio Buds are more natural feeling. However, the AirPods Pro do feel a little more natural than the Studio Buds because the AirPods Pro have more oval ear tips than the round ones found on the Studio Buds. Now, even though both the AirPods Pro and Studio Buds fit fine, I would mostly recommend these earbuds for casual use. Due to their shallow fit, they do like to wiggle out quite a bit, especially when you're working out or just jogging. And the same thing applies to the other AirPods as well. Now, when it comes to connectivity, all of these earbuds each independently establish a connection with your phone. So if you just want to use one earbud at a time, you can use either one. It doesn't matter. And this is the connection setup that we expect to see on our earbuds nowadays. And this is something that Apple has gotten right from day one, because up until recently, there have been a lot of other earbuds out there that have been using a Hero and Sidekick setup. Now, there's nothing wrong with a Hero and Sidekick setup, but it's just not as convenient. And if I remember correctly, I think this is one of the reasons why the original AirPods were delayed. Now, all of these AirPods have Apple's H1 chip, which means a few things. Now, for starters, all of these earbuds have Hey Siri support, which is great if you have your hands full. Now, even though Siri isn't perfect, she does come in clutch. But the important thing about the H1 chip is that you can easily hot swap between all of your Apple devices associated to your iCloud account. So if you're an Apple Power user with an iPhone, MacBook Pro, iMac, and maybe even an iPad, like me, my goodness, then AirPods are great. Whereas with the Studio Buds, they don't have the H1 chip and they can only be connected to one device at a time. So swapping between devices with the Studio Buds isn't as convenient as with the AirPods, but surprisingly, the Studio Buds do have Hey Siri support. But now let's talk about actually listening to music with these earbuds. Now, to keep it short and sweet, I'm just gonna have to say that both the AirPods 2 and AirPods Pro just aren't good for actually listening to music. The AirPods 2 just have a lot of bass to them and they have very poor instrument separation. Whereas the AirPods Pro have decent instrument separation, but they sound bright and their bass is very flat. So personally, I would only recommend the AirPods 2 and AirPods Pro for consuming videos or podcasts, not so much for actually listening to music. But then there are the AirPods Gen 3 and Beats Studio Buds, which are on a whole other level. Now, the AirPods 3 sound great. They have great instrument separation and they have just the right amount of bass, which also resonates a good amount. However, since these earbuds don't actually create a seal with your ear canal, noise pollution does manage to easily come in and just ruins the mids and highs. So even though these earbuds sound great, they're still mostly all about the bass and vocals. But I can't wait to hear these drivers when they're in the AirPods Pro too. So for now, I'm gonna have to say that the Studio Buds are the best sounding earbuds here. Since these earbuds do create a seal with your ear canals which block out noise pollution, you're gonna get better detail and your mids and highs won't get drowned out by other noise. Now, even though these are a Beats product and they have a lot of bass, it's not overpowering. The mids on these earbuds are also elevated, so vocals are also prominent on these earbuds. So overall, if sound is your main priority, then the Beats Studio Buds are the best choice here. The AirPods Gen 3 also sound good, but you'll want to listen to them in a quieter environment. However, one feature that we do have to go over, which is new on the AirPods 3 and it's also only found on the AirPods Pro, is spatial audio. Basically, if you're watching content that supports it, as you move your head around, your soundscape changes. Now personally, I never use this feature, but it could come in handy once virtual reality and the metaverse takes off. And when I say metaverse, I mean Decentraland or the Sandbox, not Facebook. Ew. But now let's talk about actually controlling your media with these earbuds. Now, the AirPods 3 have the same pressure buttons as the AirPods Pro, so you gotta squeeze these stems. Now, you can play and pause your music, you can skip a track, or you can go back a track. And you can also press and hold to activate Siri. But like I mentioned earlier, you've also got always listening Siri. However, I still prefer the haptic touchpads found on the AirPods 2. It's just easier and faster to use, whereas pitching the stems on these other two AirPods always feels awkward. However, with the AirPods 2, you just don't have as many control options. So I really wish Apple would just add more tap options. But finally, there are the Studio Buds, which have physical buttons. You've got the same media controls as the AirPods 3 and AirPods Pro, and they're almost as easy to use as the AirPods 2's haptic touchpads. However, I do gotta point out that the Studio Buds are the only earbuds here that don't have proximity sensors. So they aren't going to automatically play or pause your music when you take them out or put them back into your ears. And personally, I do feel that this is a very noticeable inconvenience. But now let's talk about the active noise cancellation on these earbuds. Now, the AirPods 3 don't have active noise cancellation, but both the AirPods Pro and Studio Buds do. Now, don't expect the ANC on these earbuds to block out as much noise as a proper pair of over-ear ANC headphones, like either the Sony 1000 XM4s, Bose NC700s, and especially the AirPod Max, but it does help. Now, when it comes to ANC ranking, the Sony WF-1000 XM4s block out the most amount of noise, albeit they do have an advantage because of their itchy foam ear tips. Right below them are the Jabra Elite 85Ts, which also block out a ton of noise, and personally I do prefer them because they are more comfortable. Below them are the AirPods Pro and Sennheiser Momentum 2s, which I feel are neck and neck, and below them are the Galaxy Buds Pro. Now, below the Galaxy Buds Pro are the Studio Buds. Below them are the Galaxy Buds 2, and below them are the Sennheiser CX Plus. So overall, when it comes to active noise cancellation, the AirPods Pro block out a good amount of noise when compared to the rest of the competition. And, just as you'd expect, the AirPods Pro are going to block out more noise than the Studio Buds. But then there's the ambient mode on these earbuds. And again, the AirPods 3 don't have an ambient mode. But since these earbuds let in so much noise to begin with, you can basically hear everything, even when you've got them in and playing music. Now, both the AirPods Pro and Studio Buds do have an ambient mode. And again, it's really good. But again, just as you'd expect, the AirPods Pro do have the better performing ambient mode here. It just sounds more natural, they do a better job of rejecting wind noise when walking outdoors, and it's also the active kind. So they're going to automatically block out sudden spikes and loud noises, just saving your ears from getting blasted. But finally, here's the microphone test. Now, in general, AirPods have always had a good sounding microphone. However, the microphone on the AirPods 3 does sound a little better. Now, in the interest of time, the microphone on the AirPods Gen 2 and AirPods Pro performs basically the same. However, the microphone on the AirPods 3 does have a little bit better clarity to it, and it does have more amplification to it. Whereas with the Beats Studio Buds, even though this microphone does sound decent, it just doesn't sound as good as AirPods. Now, when it comes to blocking out noise pollution, or in this case, road noise, the Studio Buds do a really good job of lifting your voice. However, you can definitely still hear a decent amount of road noise in the background. Now, the AirPods Pro also do a really good job of lifting your voice, and they also have a little less road noise in the background. But then there are the AirPods 3, which do an even better job of blocking out this road noise, and my voice has even better clarity to it. And the same thing can be said when it comes to blocking out chatter. The AirPods 3 do the best job of blocking out this noise pollution, all while still keeping my voice very clear. Whereas with the AirPods Pro, they're definitely letting in more chatter, and my voice isn't as easy to hear or as prominent. And the same thing can be said about the Beats Studio Buds. My voice isn't as prominent, and they're letting in even more chatter. So overall, all of Apple's AirPods have good sounding microphones on them for phone calls. However, the AirPods 3 do have the best sounding microphone here. It just has better clarity, more amplification to it, and they also do the best job of blocking out noise pollution. So if you do plan on taking lots and lots of phone calls with the earbuds, then the AirPods 3 are currently the best option here. Now, the Studio Buds also have a good sounding microphone on them, but it just doesn't sound as good as any of these AirPods. But with all that being said, like I said at the top of this video, the AirPods 3 are a great option for any iPhone user to consider. From a usability standpoint, they have a very small case, so they're very convenient to carry around in your pocket, and they're very comfortable to wear. And from an upgrade perspective, these earbuds sound way better than your AirPods 2. They have a better sounding microphone for phone calls. They have a slightly longer battery life, which I feel is great, and I also hope that it helps extend the lifespan of these earbuds. And they now have MagSafe, which I think is pretty neat. Now, personally, I do feel the AirPods 3 are worth the upgrade over the AirPods 2 because they look better and they sound better. And even though these earbuds aren't as feature-packed as the Studio Buds, they do feel more premium because of their smaller case and wireless charging. And for right now, I really feel that the AirPods Pro are only worth picking up if you really need active noise cancellation and you want all of the Apple conveniences that come with them. But personally, I can't wait to hear what the AirPods Pro 2 sound like with the AirPods 3's drivers. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit the like button and get subscribed. If you want to pick any of the products up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch. I made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And you know, I can be very particular, so I'll only slap my name on something that I'm really proud of.